Ezra?
Hi, Hera. I'm home.
What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television, and I want to thank all of you for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing. The road to 300 subscribers is still on, so let's hit that subscriber, let's hit that like button. Let's grow this community and go straight to the moon, baby. Please still deal with me with this head thing that I'm dealing with and chest thing. I can't seem to shake this virus or whatever it is I'm dealing with. A virus that turned into a bacterial thing. But YouTube's still has to march on. Not really, but, you know, this is what's keeping me going stir crazy. But we're going to go over Ashoka Episode 8, the season finale. I'm going to maybe assume there's another season down the road. If not, then this would be the series finale. Entitled The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Obviously, a rib at The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, a book written by C.S. Lewis. Fantastic series about a place called Narnia that we may get into probably sometime at this point, at some point in this channel. Great franchise. Written by David Filoni, directed by Rick Famuyiwa. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, sir. Stars Rosario Dawson as Ashoka, Natasha Liu Bordizzo as Sabine Wren, Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Hera, Ray Stevenson as Balin Skull, Ivana Shakano as Shinhati, Diane Lee Insanto as Morgan, David Tennant as the voice of Hyung the droid, Lars Mikkelsen as Grand Admiral Thrawn, Eman Esfandi as Ezra Bridger, and a quick appearance by Hayden Christensen, of course, Anakin Skywalker at the end of the episode. Let's shed a little bit more light on this situation. I really didn't, there we go. See, I'm not even thinking. I wasn't even fully prepared. Now that you can see my beautiful face. So basically, yes, we pick up with Grand Admiral Thrawn thinking he had won. He was able to get his basically what he wanted to load onto his onto the star, this hyperspace ring, was all the dead soldiers that they had. I will say they didn't really explain much to people who may not have been up on Rebels and the Clone Wars show. Because if you didn't watch those shows, there's probably a lot of things here that you are unaware of as far as lore is concerned, and I do think that's one of the big downfalls of the show, because I myself had to learn a lot through different means and different channels myself coming into this. And I'm still kind of iffy on what I know or don't know. Excuse me. But basically, those three witches that Grand Admiral Thrawn has they're able to control the dead, and being he has a lot of dead soldiers on his ship, he's trying to bring them. He's trying to bring everyone back, alive or dead, so then he can lead a grand army of the living and the dead. All right, to make the Empire rise again. That's the goal, but they don't really explain why it's so important that he brings all these things onto the hyperspace ring, right? Because it would just be like, just go, right? But they're not explaining why it's so important to hold Ahsoka back and Sabine and Ezra back until they can load everything onto this hyperspace ring. The only other thing, one of the few things I will say also when it comes to Grand Admiral Thrawn is why allow Sabine to live, and you tell me all this time with all the resources you had, you weren't able to kill Ezra either. That would have totally solved a lot of problems down the road. And for someone who's supposed to be a grand strategist, I would have just figured to take these two out right away, and even if Ahsoka comes, you're good, because then it's just her, you know what I mean? You're taking out less variables to lose, especially when he underestimated them near the end of Rebels, I believe. And he just has a weakness against the Force, and it's the Force again, I guess, that has taken him by surprise, because Ezra basically Thrawn sends a couple of TIE fighters to try to distract our crew here again. Sabine and the TIE fighters collide with each other because Ezra and Ahsoka are on the ground with our turtle friends there, right? And the ship that her and Hayung are on winds up crashing, and Hayung has to try to repair it as now Sabine, Ezra, and Ahsoka go face Grand Admiral Thrawn in the big mothership there. Ezra learns that Hayung had taught his master how to build a lightsaber and had helped him build his own lightsaber. Again, this would be the second one, I guess, Ezra has built. Again, a little bit of a contradiction. Ezra said in last episode he doesn't need anything, he just has the Force and that's all he needs. But now he needs a lightsaber. Okay, I mean, whatever. He finally learns what happened between Sabine and Ahsoka, and it was Ahsoka who denied Sabine's training at the time because of the Battle of Mandalore. She was afraid that Sabine would use her knowledge of the Force to turn to the dark side because of what happened with her family dying and the rest of her people dying on Mandalore, or a great number of her people dying. And she was afraid to give Sabine the tools that would maybe lead her to the dark side. Okay, that makes sense, right? To me, that made sense. Excuse me. So, anyway, so we get to where our three heroes are approaching Grand Admiral's ship. He decides to send a barrage of bombs to them. You telling me? I guess you can just say it's the Force guiding them, but they were able to survive literally thousands of bombs getting blasted, hundreds of bombs getting blasted near them, and not a scratch, not a falling off your horse type of thing, or nothing like that. Okay. And so as they're approaching the entrance, Ahsoka is telling Ezra, open that door up there, right? And now Ezra has done nothing but focus on his Force training all these years of being where he's at. And he's, trying to do it, and he can't do it exactly. And then Ahsoka tells Sabine, help him, even though she has no connection to the Force at this point. Hasn't been training or anything, but is able to help Ezra, who has more mastery of the Force than she does, but she was able to do it with him. Okay, I guess. So now finally they make it into the ship, and Grand Admiral Thrawn and Morgan are talking about how do the troops know what they're doing, and she's like, yes, they understand the sacrifice they're about to make. So they go, and they wind up getting taken out by Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine, and the witches were able to do their magic on them and make them raise from the grave, basically making them zombies. Also, the witches gave Morgan this sword that was held by the leader of the Night Sisters at one point, and her goal is to also help slow them down. She'll be one of the last line of defenses so Grand Admiral Thrawn can go with his forces back to the known galaxy. They're able to separate themselves, Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra, from the zombie horde for a little bit, to where then they come across Morgan. Ahsoka and Morgan face off as Ezra and Sabine try to go stop Thrawn. I love Rosario Dawson as an actor and everything. Actress, she's been in a lot of legendary roles, in my opinion. But I don't know, man. I just wasn't big on her fighting in this. She seemed very slow. It seemed very, I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more of, I don't know, man. It just seemed a little slow, considering the agency that these people were supposed to be fighting at. And So that's going on. Morgan and Ahsoka fighting. Sabine and Ezra have to now face off against these two dark troopers, and where they're fighting is kind of on a circular platform where there's no sides or anything. So if you fall off the side, you're done for. If Ezra was mainly using the Force, why not just Force push these people, these dark trooper zombies, off the edge? 1, 2, 3, problem solved. But no, he's trying to hit them and kick them. If blaster guns and the lightsabers aren't doing anything, your karate chops ain't doing nothing to them for sure. So I don't know why he wasn't using his Force power on them to push them off the platform. At some point, they both, Sabine and him, lose their lightsabers. And as it looks like all hope is lost, Sabine finally learns how to use the Force and gets her lightsaber back, is able to kill her dark trooper enemy. And then Ezra's able to, and then she saves, kind of distracts the other one to help Ezra, and he beheads the other one. So the one who didn't know anything about the Force saves the one who has mastery over the Force because reasons, I guess. I don't know. And then as Grand Admiral Thrawn's ship is taking off, They decide that Ezra will run and jump, and then as he's halfway there, Sabine will push him the rest of the way. Because again, she had no training, no real training, and no real connection to the Force until now, out of the blue, and now she's a master of the Force. Okay. Ezra makes it onto the ship, and he defeats the two stormtroopers that are there, and takes the uniform of one and wears it for the rest of the remainder of the trip there. Ahsoka and Sabine try to get into, because at this point now Hyung has been able to fix the ship, meet Ahsoka and Sabine there, and they're trying to follow Grand Admiral Thrawn, his ship, and they wind up getting hailed by him and saying, I anticipated all this and that because of your master, and I used my knowledge of him and my knowledge that I have on you, and I'm making it, no matter what you can do now, we're going. And he jumps and is able to make it back home. So basically, Ahsoka, Sabine, and Ezra lose in the sense of that they were not able to prevent him from going, and now he's back into the known galaxy. Leaving Sabine and Ahsoka stuck here now, and basically leaving those two and Hyung there to figure out how to make it back home. We finish up the episode with Baylan Skoll near some statue as he's looking out to the landscape, and then Shin Hati makes her way there, makes her way to a village those mercenaries that were helping her, and she decides to, become their leader, a part of them. They didn't have any lines or anything like that. They never really explained why they were doing what they were doing. They never really gave any real motivation for Baylan Skoll. So that is a big miss, in my opinion. And now we'll really never get to know, with Ray Stevenson passed away, rest in peace, legend. So that was a big miss for me. And then finally, when Grand Admiral Thrawn makes it back to the known galaxy, we see Hera on her ship, and she's getting told there's an Imperial ship coming that they don't destroy for some reason, but then they let it land in their ship. And they didn't hail them or anything like that, because if they would have hailed them, they would have known it was Ezra. So there would have been no reason for the face reveal at the end of the episode. And Grand Admiral Thrawn didn't realize that the ship took off when they made it back to the known universe, making him look like an idiot. I don't know. I don't know. So Hera and Ezra reunite. And then basically near the end, as Sabine and Ahsoka are looking off to the skies, Sabine maybe had seen something, but then Ahsoka kind of sees what she's seen, and it's Anakin Skywalker's Force Ghost, and that's kind of where we end. Visually, this series looked great. There were some great parts in this series, with acting, with Hayden Christensen, with Ray Stevenson. Occasionally, I liked Ahsoka, but I don't think Rosario Dawson had much to work with. I found the character Sabine to be very annoying. Ezra, like okay, but they kind of contradicted him too with, I only need the Force, but then I'm going to make a lightsaber or whatever and use weapons. So they kind of already veered off of his what he was trying to do. Be that passive, oh yeah, man, I'm gonna use the Force, man. Space stoner, which I would have loved, but, and Grand Admiral Thrawn seemed kind of stupid along the way. If he would have just killed Ezra and Sabine, a lot of his resources wouldn't have been wasted the way they were. But he made it back. The mission was a success. Oh, Ahsoka winded up defeating and killing Morgan during their battle. But that doesn't mean she's necessarily dead, with the fact that they can control the dead, the Night Sisters. So we'll see how that goes too. I'm going to give this overall series a 7 out of 10. You let me know down below if you think this was worth the time or the watch. I could have kind of dealt without it in an overall sense. Because unless you watch all these other seasons of the other shows, a lot of time you're lost in what's going on. That's just my opinion, but you let me know down below what's yours. And until next time, peace, Snookums.